Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne and today we're starting a very exciting vacation reading vlog. Tomorrow morning, my boyfriend and I are going to Miami for a few days and it's summertime. It's gonna be hot, pool, beach time. So I wanted to read some of the new release thrillers for summer. And they're all by authors that I've read before and enjoyed their work. So I'm so excited for this TBR and so excited for my trip and excited that you get to come along with me. So I'm gonna have lots of reading time on the books. So first up I have The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. This is the author of The Push. I gave The Push 5 stars. It was such a compelling book. I could not put it down. So I'm hoping this book will do the same thing where I just can't stop reading. This book follows a woman who she's with her neighbors. She's such a perfect mother. And then one day she snaps at her son for disobeying her. And then later that night he falls out of his bedroom window and then he's in the hospital. Everyone is speculating about her and her family and, you know, her perfect facade has cracked, but also exploring friendship, motherhood, and maybe some twisty secrets. So can't wait to pick this one up. I haven't heard anything about it yet. And then I have 0 Days by Ruth Ware. So this book follows a married couple who they get hired to test company security systems and see where their weaknesses lie to help them improve their security. And then after one of these missions, I don't know, the husband is found dead and the wife is suspected of the murder. So she has to prove her innocence, I guess. I've loved Ruth Ware in the past. This doesn't sound like any book she's written before, but I'm intrigued and I think I'm gonna pick this one up first because my sister recently read it and I want to talk about it with her while it's still fresh in her mind. And then lastly, The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I have a mixed relationship with Riley Sager. My favorite book of his that I've read is The House Across the Lake, which I know is not everyone's favorite book, but I love that one. This one follows a caretaker who's taking care of an older woman on this island home who is suspected of murdering her family back in the day, but maybe she never went to prison for it and the caretaker is finding out what really happened or something like that. Obviously, I'll give you more information on all of these books once I start reading them. So that's the plan. I'm gonna leave bright and early in the morning and yes, I'm gonna start with 0 Days and take this on the airplane. So see you there. Hello, welcome to Miami. I'm working on getting ready for the pool, but I wanted to update you. We got in yesterday morning and we're now checked into our beautiful room. It's incredible. We've had great food, lots of time outside. You're just gonna see my skin gradually darken over the next few days. But I'm on page 140 of 0 Days. And so far I'm enjoying it. We have our main character whose husband was murdered while she was on the job during like her first opening scene. And now we find out that there is a motive that the police are gonna think maybe she killed him. So now she's on the run trying to figure out who killed her husband. And it's not so much mystery as it is like action thrillery. But it's also sad because her husband just got murdered yesterday. It's not quite the vibe I'm looking for right now, but I hope I'll just finish it today. It's not, you know, I prefer a domestic thriller, I'll be honest. But I'm gonna keep reading this. I'm about to go down to the pool, maybe the beach. And yeah, just keep enjoying my time. wanted to give you a little update. It's the evening after dinner, and we're gonna do a little bathroom update, so sorry if it's echoey, but I'm done with 0 Days by Ruth Ware. For now, I'm bored. It feels like someone who's a fan of spy thrillers decided to write one, but there's nothing unique or interesting, or that sounds so rude, but there was no reason for Ruth Ware to write this book. It's boring, predictable, cliche. I'm so sorry, Ruth Ware. I have 100 pages left, and maybe I'll speed through it later, but I wanted to read something fun while I'm here because I was getting very bored. So I picked up The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. This book feels very Liane Moriarty dash of Malibu Rising, which isn't what I expected after reading The Push, but so far so good. I'm 50 pages in. We have a woman whose son is in the hospital after an accident. We're not sure what happened yet. And then another person from the neighborhood is the ER doctor and how that's affecting her. And then this old woman who lives in the neighborhood, she's Portuguese, and the whole neighborhood has been taken over, torn down, and gentrified into these fancy houses, and she's one of the last like people from the Portuguese neighborhood left. So yeah, it's really good. I'm gonna keep reading that. We've been having a great time on our trip. We leave tomorrow, but we still have a full day tomorrow before we leave. So I'm actually gonna go read some of my book right now. Hello, welcome to the final day of the Florida trip. First quick update, I'm on page 97 of The Whispers by Ashley Audrain, which I now know what the whispers are. It's basically in your life when you get like a whisper, a feeling that something is wrong, pretty much, which I just butchered that, but I liked when I read that part in the book. It's good so far. It's a little odd. It's a little graphic, vulgar when describing bodily functions, intimate things. I can't tell yet if it's just the one character who's weird or if the whole book's like that, but that part's weird slash funny, kind of. So that's interesting. We're getting some reveals and such. It's still giving Liane Moriarty vibes. Now today we have a rental car before our flight, so we go to bookstores. We already went to 2. The first one was a super cool bookstore, but nothing that I needed in there. But it was beautiful and had cool music, and also a cat who wanted to run outside to chase a lizard, and I had to pick it up and move him so we could leave. And then we went to another bookstore, and I got 2 things. You Should Have Left by Daniel Kelman, which is like a mini sci-fi horror book. And then Sleep Well, My Lady by Quay Quarty, which I think this is a sequel to a book that I have, but I saw it and the store was so cheap, so I've been meaning to not buy sequels. I just really felt like buying something. We're at our 3rd and final bookstore before we head to the airport, Bookwise in Boca Raton. So I'm gonna head in there and let's see if we can find some books. I'm back home now. I had a wonderful time in Miami. I would highly recommend. Only suggestion is don't go during the height of summer. It was brutally hot, but still such a great time. I only found one more book on our book shopping day. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke, and other misfortunes. This is Horror Short Stories by Eric LaRocca. I've heard these are really dark, strange, gross stories, which I'm nervous about, but it's only $5, so I think I'll give it a whirl. And then I have finished The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. This book was very good and very consumable. Like I really wanted to keep reading whenever I picked it up, but it's dark, strange, and gross. This very much involves motherhood, just like The Push, but this time we have 4 main mothers' perspectives, varying degrees of good to bad parenting, and a little bit how they judge each other, and a little bit how they judge themselves, and how different those things can be. So one of our main characters is desperate to get pregnant and have a baby, and she has had multiple miscarriages. So one of the gross things is graphic discussions about her miscarriages. I don't want to say anything gross myself, but like, if the thought of someone picking up that and carrying it around in their pocket for the day would disturb you, that's the kind of gross I'm talking about. And also if the thought of someone sneaking through your house and sniffing things they shouldn't, that's other kind of gross I'm talking about. It was honestly kind of funny though sometimes, like just the shockingness of the weird stuff was kind of funny. Similar to The Push, this book has like a great final line. I think The Push hyped up the final line a bit too much, especially because the final line wasn't surprising to most people who read it. And I feel the same about this one. The final line isn't a surprise, it's just like a satisfying final line, I'll say. But it was really good. But again, it was a sad book and not the fun thriller I was hoping to read. Speaking of which, I also finished 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I switched to audiobook just to push through it, and it was not good. I think I had 100 pages left and nothing happened, nothing was revealed, nothing interesting. It was so boring and so vague. Like the answers that you need are not like detailed answered, and not in a like cool, ambiguous, choose your own ending type of way, just in like, I didn't think it was important to tell you this part kind of way. And literally, so at some point, our main character, while she's, you know, out on the run, trying to figure out who murdered her husband, is she really? I mean, she's not trying very hard. But at some point, she like scratches something on her stomach, so she has a wound for most of the book. And I'm telling you, 20% of this book is her talking about her wound, saying it hurts, she feels faint, checking on the wound, trying to take care of it, trying to medically diagnose herself when she knows nothing, looking at the wound. I'm sick of her injury. And it wasn't even like an interesting injury. She literally was trying to jump over a wall and maybe scratched on a thorn in a bush, maybe scratched on top of the fence. Like, you can't even definitively tell us how she got a wound on her stomach. It was just like, just give us answers. I'm feeling a little betrayed by Ruth Ware. Like, did she write this? It doesn't seem like her. And I'm only saying this because we're deep into the vlog. I would never want to say this in any place that she might actually hear, read. But this book was kind of embarrassing. Like, I can't believe she wrote it. I wish someone told her not to write it. And if her name wasn't on it, nobody would read it and it would get really low ratings. So, that was so rude. I'm so sorry. So now it's time to read my next book, The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I'm hoping that this actually gives me the fun thriller book that I'm looking for. Riley Sager's been hit or miss with me before, but the last book I read by him, The House Across the Lake, was fantastic. So, hoping to get the same from this. This follows a caretaker staying at this house on the cliffs to take care of this woman who is accused of murdering her whole family. So, that sounds like a great time. Fingers crossed it is a 5-star, or at least better than Ruth Ware's book. Alright, first impression of The Only One Left. Love it. Such a good atmosphere. So we're at this creepy home, crumbling, not very well kept up with mansion. Our main character's name is Kit. Oh, also this book is set in like the 80s. Did not know that. So our main character, Kit, is a home health aide who had some trouble with her last patient. It got her suspended from her job, and she's suspected of bad things. They could not prove those bad things, so she's now back to being a home health aide, and her boss gives her an assignment that nobody wants and she doesn't want, but he says you have to take it or leave the company. So she's assigned to Lenora Hope, who is an elderly woman who is completely immobile except for one arm, and she can't talk. So Lenora Hope is a local legend because she was accused of murdering her entire family in 1929. She was the only one left alive when the rest of her family was stabbed and hung in their home. And our main character, Kit, is afraid of her because, I mean, she grew up hearing like rhymes on the playground about Lenora Hope killing her family. And so she's like meeting a local story, and she's afraid of her. But also this mansion is such a good atmosphere. Like, it's spooky, creepy. We've got the murder happened there many years ago. There's like the main housekeeper who's like not too friendly. We've got Lenora, who needs a lot of care, so she needs to be bathed and carried and fed. And she doesn't talk, but she's intimidating because she may have murdered her whole family. We find out that Lenora wants to tell Kit the story of what happened that night when her family was murdered, and she has a typewriter. So Kit is helping her type with one hand the history, the backstory of what happened. So we're switching between some typewriter stories and then the main story, and it's so good. And I'm enjoying the past flashbacks to when Mary was a teenager, and then the present day with our main character like not wanting to be here. This place is on the cliffside and it's crumbling, and it's like slanting towards the sea, so there's like this off-putting wonkiness to the house where you like feel dizzy, feel vertigo walking around, and it's also spooky and dusty and derelict, and it's just been so much fun to read. I'm enjoying it very much. Fingers crossed this goes well. Like, it just feels like it's gonna be so good. So it's not summery at all, but it is the vibe I'm looking for. I have some updates for you about the book. So I'm loving it so far. We've gotten some information about Kit, what's going on in her life, how she ended up in this assignment after what happened with her last patient. We're getting information about Lenora's past. Also information about the last home health aide that worked there that fled in the night, which is why the assignment was open for Kit, because the last person disappeared in the night. But she left all her stuff behind, so did she disappear? Did something else happen? We don't know, but I'm intrigued. And yeah, there's other characters at the house. Some of them lived there in 1929 when the family was murdered, and Lenora is slowly revealing stuff about the past and leading up to the family slaughter. But it's fun. I'm a little thrown off by the fact that this house is crumbling. There's like cracks in the wall, and they're still all there. Like, the house is gonna crumble and fall into the ocean. why are you guys still here when, you know, the cracks are growing in the walls each day? I couldn't. That's terrifying. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's so much fun. The part where I'm in, it's like storming now. Sort of like oceanside storming, spooky. Also, there's a little bit of, is it haunted? Kind of. Maybe, probably not, but maybe. It's been a great time. I try not to think too hard. I don't want to solve it, but also I don't know if I can solve it. Like, I think it's definitely well plotted that I'm not figuring stuff out so much. But I do have to tell you what happened at the park. So I was sitting at the park and a monstrosity of a bug was on my leg. I just looked down and it was on my leg. I gasped and tossed that thing. I think I even touched it with my hand, which is disgusting, but I just needed to get it off of me. I honestly, it was still in sight, like it was stumbling around in the dirt trying to walk around, and it just wouldn't like get the heck out of here. And I was just upset looking at it because it's so ugly. But then I started getting intrigued because it is a bug. It was weird looking. I didn't know what it was. I got up closer to it to look at it, and it's this orange looking grub worm with nubs on the side of its head. But I was looking at it, I was thinking, like, what if those nubs are folded up wings and it fell on my leg from the tree because it was in a cocoon? And with the help of Google, yes, it is a moth. And when we checked on it again, like, its wings started to unfurl, and then we went on a little walk and came back, and it was a moth. His wings were all out. And I'm so glad that he was still there when we came back so I could see the transformation. It was so cool. He's still disgusting, right? I mean, moths are gross too. Butterflies can be gross if you look at them too closely. It is just nice. Half gross, half a beautiful story. So anyways, excited to keep reading my book because it's so much fun and I want to know what happened. I finished The Only One Left by Riley Sager. It was excellent, excellent. Suspiciously curious about it. I'll tell you why. So this book, I had about 87 twists at the end. So many. Back to back to back to back. And it was fun, enjoyable. More twists than I've probably ever read in a thriller. But it made me suspicious that Riley Sager's like mocking us. Like, he knows people want twists in thrillers, and maybe people told him like that didn't have enough twists, or that was one big silly twist, whatever. So I feel like he took that information and was like, fine, I'll give you every twist. And that's what he did in this book. Especially because of the nature of some of the twists. Like, there's some classic ones, there's some crazy ones, there's some interesting ones, there's some ones that we thought we definitely couldn't be twists, but they're twists anyways. And it was so much fun. But is he mocking us? And if you read it, tell me, do you think he might be mocking us? I don't know. But I really enjoyed reading this. So even if he's mocking us, I'm just giving it 5 stars. So obviously this was the winner of the video, with The Whispers coming in second and 0 Days coming in last, or at spot 0 because I didn't like it at all. So hope you enjoyed vacation. Hope you enjoyed reading these books with me. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.